So friends, today we are going to study about acute myeloid leukemia. Definition is due to acquired genetic alteration, there is loss of myeloid differentiation and there is excessive proliferation of undifferentiated blast leading to replacement of narrow marrow, normal marrow elements. So exhibiting one or more types of early myeloid differentiation. So you can see in this bone marrow biopsy, it is replaced, normal marrow is replaced by almost completely by these myeloblasts. These are the myeloblasts. So AML is diagnosed when bone marrow biopsy reveals more than 20% of myeloblasts. Here there are more than 20% of myeloblasts, and you can see here one megakaryocyte, at least here one megakaryocyte. So risk factors are history of cancer, exposure to alkylating agents, radiation, topoisomerase 2 inhibitors, occupational exposure such as radiation, benzene, petroleum products, paint, smoking, pesticides, and family history of AML, Fanconi's, Bloom or Costman syndromes or ataxia telangiectasia. Now, what are the clinical features? AML in a young adult, okay, pancytopenia. So anemia will present with increased fatigue, thrombocytopenia with bleeding manifestations, neutropenia with fever or recurrent infections. CNS leukemia has headache, vision changes, and neurological abnormalities. Splenomegaly is less common in AML because it is acute in onset. This is a differentiation, a classification M0 to M7. AML with minimal differentiation, without maturation, with maturation, myelomonocytic, monocytic, pure erythroid leukemia, acute megakaryocytic leukemia, and basophilic leukemia. So M3, that is promyelocytic leukemia, it has translocation of 15-17. On 15th chromosome we have PML gene. On 17th chromosome we have retinoic acid receptor alpha gene. This leads to promyelocytic leukemia. So you can see in this promyelocytes, here is all rods, and we can see large and uniform promyelocytes, and they are having granules, cytoplasmic granules. So because retinoic acid receptor is present on 17th chromosome, if we give all trans retinoic acid, that is vitamin A analog, this is the treatment. It helps to overcome the block in acute promyelocytic leukemia. This is very very important, friends. And M3 can cause disseminated intravascular coagulation. What is the reason? As I have told you, there are granules present. So release of these granules due to cell death into the peripheral blood can present with disseminated intravascular coagulation. Now morphology, there is increased myeloblasts on peripheral smear. How does the myeloblast look? All rods are present, large and uniform myeloblasts they look. They have fine and dispersed chromatin and they have prominent nuclei. And they are Sudan black positive, myeloperoxidase positive. PAS is negative in AML, it is positive in ALL, but PAS is positive in M6 and M7, and NSE is positive in M4, M5 and M7. Cytogenetics done by FISH, RT-PCR and karyotyping. M2 has 821 translocation, M4 is 1616, M3 is 15 and 17 translocation. So these three have good prognosis, and CEBPA also presents with good prognosis. Now this is European leukemia net risk stratification, which is having favorable risk, intermediate risk and adverse risks. So favorable risks is, as we have seen, 821, inverse 16 and 15-17 and CEBPA mutation. And intermediate risks is mutated NPM1, wild type NPM1 without FTL3 ITD, and 911 inversion translocation. And adverse risk is translocation 69, you can remember 69, inversion 3, deletion of 5q, and mutation RUNX1 and mutated TP53, and translocation 922 also you can remember. So now this is the peripheral blood smear showing myeloblasts. You can see here nucleoli is present, fine dispersed chromatin, and this is arrow mark one is azurophilic granules. Now another classification is there. It is AML with recurrent genetic abnormality, as we have seen. M2 presents with 821, M3 has 1517, like that. AML with gene mutation, CEBPA is having good prognosis, like CEBPA mutation, and other mutations are also there. AML with myelo MDS related, bad prognosis. AML therapy related, bad prognosis. AML not otherwise specified is what we have seen. Now these are CD markers on immunohistochemistry. Myeloblast is having CD11, 13, 33, 117. M3 is 13, 33. M4, M5 is 11, 13, 14 and 33. Monocyte is also having 11C. M6 is glycophorin and spectrin. This is little different. And M7 megakaryocyte is CD4, 41 and 61. Now another thing is M2 is associated with chloroma. M3 can lead to DIC, as we have known. M4 present with eosinophilia. M5 and M4 both have this gum infiltration, leukocytosis and hepatosplenomegaly, but M5 is more. M6 is drug induced AML, and this is most important. M7 is associated with Down's syndrome. So this is granulocytic sarcoma or extramedullary myeloblastoma, chloroma, what we have studied, associated with M2. It commonly involves the orbit. Now what is the management? Management is cytarabine 100 to 200 mg per square meter, continuous intravenous infusion for 7 days, and anthracycline therapy with it, daunorubicin or idarubicin on days 1, 2 and 3. So this is called 7-3 regimen. So this regimen, cytarabine, daunorubicin, is given in fit persons, those who are adults, young adults, and no comorbidities with less risk. But older patients with adverse risk genetics and comorbidities, this cytarabine and daunorubicin is risky for them. So we give hypomethylating agent, low intensity therapy with decitabine or azacitidine. This is a flow chart we can see here. So favorable risk, intermediate risk and adverse risk. Okay, favorable risk, we can start with daunorubicin and cytarabine based regimen. After complete remission, we can start them with intermediate cytarabine regimen. In intermediate risk and adverse risk patient, we can start with daunorubicin plus cytarabine based regimen, and if complete remission occurs, we can do allogenic hematopoietic cell transplantation. We can do this. Thank you friends. Please, if you like it, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.